Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 1st of April, comes to you from London, and I'm a little bit later on Charts Today this morning. We're past midday, so there's no April Fool's jokes embedded in this session. But I've been finishing my monthly report, which looks at about 100 different instruments, around 400 charts. It's a massive report, over 100 pages long, and I put this out to our enterprise clients every month. You can actually see it in our news, along with all our other reports, our daily reports, lots of different news items in there. But this is where you get all the reports, the special reports, energy reports, and the global reports. So the great thing about having all these reports in one place is you can actually review the month-to-month changes. So here, really interestingly, the bold is what's changed. The Aussie dollar in the last month has become more neutral, as has the South African rand. Those are about the only bold changes. So really, the picture is little changed, and we can compare. So here is January, February, March, April. So you can compare previous reports, and if we just look at the last month, we can see here the changes, and as I mentioned, the ability to compare the two. And then of course you can scroll down through the reports and see all the charts, the targets, price targets given for pretty well all these asset classes. Really, this is a great way of just keeping track of what's going on in markets each month. And we're seeing here, as I said, very little change in currencies. The bold represents a change, and as I say, there's really little that has changed in this past month here. Bitcoin is looking more bullish, and the currencies, but as for the rest of things, very little change. So quite interesting. I was expecting to maybe change my view on some of these metals, but when it came to looking at the charts, they're still very much in bullish mode, and so that tells us something. So it's really worth taking a look at these reports. And if you want to get the reports, a lot of people say to me, how do I get the reports? Just take a trial of Updata, our enterprise edition, and you'll have all these reports available to you straight away. So you get all the reports that are all held in one place in our news stories. So just go to news, which is this button up here, or data services, and you can look at the reports with all the trends and targets. And it's amazing when I look at these reports just how much the targets that we're given in the last month or two are coming to fruition, and then we get new targets. So it's really been pretty accurate. So really worth checking this out. As I say, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages with all the trends and targets. These are the cloud charts, by the way, which I use all the time. And if you don't understand, and the point and figure, and if you want a basic understanding of those, get my cloud charts book. It's on Amazon, on all the Amazon sites. So get the cloud charts book, and you'll see how the clouds work. It's really well explained. And also there's a rough explanation there on point and figure targets, which you can use as well. So taking a look just at a couple of charts this morning, I put out this chart on LinkedIn about Europe's energy use, and it's 23 billion that the European Union has paid Russia in coal, oil, and gas. And these are the daily charts just showing the amounts, and these are the daily amounts: 800 million in total, 500 million in euros in gas, 270 in crude oil, and nearly 23 in coal. So that's the money that is being paid, and I posted on LinkedIn about that this morning. It's had lots of comments, so it's been quite interesting. Another chart I posted this morning was the TTF chart, and what I did here, this is the flip chart button, so that's TTF as you see it, and you look at that and you go, is that really rising off a bottom? And one of the things you can do is just flip the chart upside down, and you may see it more clearly as falling away from a top. You can do this on any chart. It's this button here, the flip chart, and it's a really good way of just addressing any bias that you might already have. So that is also good. And of course, TTF, we are up 2% this morning. We're back above the 60-minute cloud for the first time in a few weeks. We flagged that yesterday to clients, and that is now looking really, really strong. Taking a look, we'll come back to the energy mix, but just taking a look at what's going on in markets generally. The dollar remains strong. Remembering this is my weekly cloud, daily cloud, and 60-minute cloud. If you're above the cloud, we're bullish. If we're below, you're bearish. So it gives us a very quick view on 3 time frames, what's going on with the corresponding point and figure targets. We see here, for example, that the yen is looking stronger again against the dollar. That really breaking out, and that upside target now to play for. We talk about all of these in the monthly report, of course, the longer term targets. Bitcoin has fallen back a little bit this morning, but you'll see that it is still finding support on that weekly cloud, and that's been a really big factor. The S&P 500 index actually fell away last night, down 1.5%. Still can't get back above the cloud on the medium-term chart, the daily, so that is still bearish for the market. We are seeing the futures up about 0.5% this morning. Does suggest we might see the market just open slightly higher, but for the moment those downside targets hang over us, and on the Nasdaq it's quite a big downside target, some 31%. We have to watch now for the lower high and then the lower low, and we again are bearish below the cloud there. Looking at Europe, the FTSE future is actually pushing towards resistance. That's looking better than a lot of other indices, but if we look at the DAX in Germany, it still has to get above this 15,000 critical level. That's a long way from here, of course. And then if we look at the other markets in Asia, we're mixed picture, but mostly up. Japan was slightly down. The Chinese market up 1% and India up 1.2%. So Asia fell heavily yesterday. It closed the week a little bit higher. India is actually starting to look a little bit better on the charts. The Aussie market was lower, but it is still the only market, as we highlight in our report. It's the only major Western stock market that we're not bearish on, because we haven't activated this downside target. It's a standout. Wheat is up 2.5%. We remain bullish in our monthly report. The long-term charts are still bullish. This spike, we might fall back a bit, but looking pretty bullish still above the cloud. Gold, again, bullish long-term, upside targets 2.5%, 2,400, but at the moment we're just struggling to get above that 1950 level. And US 10-year yields have been a feature, pushing higher again today, back into that sort of territory of 2.5%. So that's really quite key. We flagged Apple in the week. Apple actually failed to make a new high, breaking this downside target. That hangs over us. We had an 11-day run of rises, and that came to an end. So that's really significant. Looking at the energy mix, we're actually looking a bit better on Brent this morning after the US is releasing the oil reserves. If we take a look at the charts, we see here that we are just still on support. So the trend is up, but short term on the 60-minute chart we are bearish. Keep an eye on these 1-minute charts if you're trading crude, really quite key. US nat gas down 1%. We were neutral out to clients this morning in our morning report. Coal is actually looking pretty strong at $190. Emissions have really struggled, and they're really stuck in this range at the moment between sort of 75 and 82, and we just really cannot break, and we are teetering below the cloud. So again, we were neutral. We're seeing UK gas down nearly 2%, but European gas, TTF, is actually up 2%, so that's quite key, and we are wandering back above the cloud, as we talked about. And there's no stopping German power, pushing higher all the time, set to make a new high on the Cal 23 contract, so looking very strong indeed. And we've got some good upside targets there as well. Again, we covered those in our monthly report, so keep an eye on those. And of course, energy buyers will need to be just keeping an eye on these European power and gas prices. These are our screens from OTC Global Holdings, new data partner. All this data included with Updata Professional and Enterprise Edition, so really quite useful and valuable. And looking to the UK screen, we see here UK power prices still pushing higher. If you're a purchaser of UK power, this is something that you really want to be watching. These charts, really, really important to keep an eye on these prices. And of course, our weekly reports on and daily reports on gas and power markets in Europe. That's it for today. Have a great weekend. Until tomorrow, until Monday, I should say, wear your flour. This is my Ukrainian sunflower, the national Ukrainian flour. Turn your heating down, just staying a bit rugged up, and just spare a thought for the people of Ukraine who are still suffering, and we need to wean ourselves off Russian oil, coal and gas. That's it for today. Until Monday, happy charting. See you then.